That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. We are the Sports Hounds, exclusively here on A2D Radio. I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. Frank Vesby is producing the show. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow. Don't miss anything here on A2D Radio. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. If you miss anything here, wherever you get your podcasts, download us. Listen to us whenever you want. Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Takeover Talk, A2D Radio. Absolutely everywhere. Our sponsors tonight, of course, he's Dr. Paul Vidal. He's our doc. Make him yours too. At Specialized Physical Therapy, 2 convenient locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. He's our doc. Make him yours too. Also brought to you by Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promotes wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. Use promo code A2D for 25% off your order. We had a lot to talk about. This is the first time we're on the air since the epic madness that was the Major League Baseball trade deadline. A lot of teams got better. A lot of good trades on both ends of the spectrum. Teams that were rebuilding, I thought, did well. And I thought some contenders really loaded up. So we're going to talk about that.
A couple dropped the ball too, Rob.
A couple dropped the ball, yeah. But even teams like the Red Sox, who we were talking about, dropped the ball because they didn't get pitching. They didn't do it nothing.
No, but they didn't do nearly enough.
Houston didn't get a starting pitcher, which I thought they kind of needed.
Thank God.
We'll get into all the trades, we'll re-rack each league, do some predictions, see if the Yankees, see if the Phillies, who's going to make the playoffs, who's going to be competing for a world championship. Come October, we have NBA free agency started today. A lot of moving and shaking going on so far. Lonzo Ball's on the Bulls. Jimmy Butler gets massive money from the Miami Heat. I'm missing one. Chris Paul goes back to the Suns. I think that's the summary of guys that have moved so far. We'll see what the Sixers do. We'll see what the Knicks do. Obviously, we had an NBA draft. Russell Westbrook now on the Lakers with LeBron and AD. I don't like that trade at all for either team. Yeah, I can't remember a trade in recent memory that I hate more than the Russell Westbrook to the Los Angeles Lakers trade. First of all, if you're the Wizards, you played really good down the stretch, Brad.
I don't get it. I mean,
with Westbrook and Beal.
Did Beal?
They got a pile of trash. They got a pile of trash for Russell Westbrook. Kyle Kuzma stinks. Like, I don't get it. So, I mean, that just clears the way for your Knicks and the Sixers in the middle pack of that Eastern Conference, because I don't think the Wizards are going to be anything now. And, the Knicks, they brought back Nerlens. It looks like they're going to get Fournier. Thought they dropped the ball with Lonzo Ball.
I agree.
Perfect.
I agree. However, there are some other point guards out there. We'll see. I've heard rumors that who is their point guard, the backup for Chris Paul, by the way?
Cameron Payne.
Yeah, I've heard him mentioned prominently, by the way, with the Knicks.
Terrific player.
Yeah,
great story if you really want to dive into it. I mean, pretty good player at Michigan State. Bounced around, journeyman, G League, out of the league. Then he's, competing for an NBA championship last year. That would be a great get for anyone, let alone a team that's so destitute at the point guard position like the New York Knicks.
Well, they're gonna get somebody. The question is who. That's kind of the. I mean, right now you're looking at Derrick Rose and Emmanuel Quickly, and I think Quickly is better served coming off the bench as a shooting guard right now, and I think Rose is best served coming off the bench so he doesn't have to play too many minutes with his knees.
So, we'll take a look at the free agency. We got Frank Vesby, our great producer, on the case. If anything big happens, he'll bring it to us. We'll talk about the draft that was, what did and didn't happen in terms of Ben Simmons and some of these big-time moves that we thought we were going to see that just didn't come to fruition. I can't believe Ben Simmons is still on the Sixers. I can't believe it. I'm speechless.
There's there's been a lot of weird things that have been going on.
But, where does Daryl Morey get the nerve to ask for, 4 first-round picks and, 2 established young players?
No, an all-star and an established young player.
And 4 first-round picks?
Right. Is he kidding me?
Ben Simmons is not that valuable. He's just not. He's damaged goods.
He's a nice player, don't get me wrong, but, that's it.
Ben Simmons will never win an NBA championship, ever. I'll put
not unless he's not
the mortgage on it, folks.
Not unless he's in a perfect situation.
Even if he's in a perfect situation, I don't think that he can. He just can't get it done. Because if he's not the point guard, he's a baby. If anyone criticizes him, he's a baby. He's not aggressive. He's soft. He's coddled. He's a spoiled brat. He thinks he's good enough. He doesn't think he has to get better. So, I don't understand why he would want it.
Does he not read the stat sheet and see, just how bad he is at the free throw line? Or
I think that Ben Simmons reads stat sheets, but I don't know, what stat sheets he reads or how he thinks that his free throw percentage and his lack there of being aggressive and just commanding basketball games down the stretch with all the physical tools that he has, it's just lost on him. It's kind of sad, really.
He lost the championship for you, no question. He was.
I don't want to go that far because
we're not talking about the greatest of all time either. We're talking about the GOAT, as in the one that's the loser, the GOAT of the series. For the Sixers.
No doubt, they lost the Hawks series. I don't know if they're beating the Bucks.
Maybe not. The Bucks seem to raise their level of play during the NBA playoffs, so I don't know that. I think you might be right about that, but there's no question about the fact that he the bed. So
you have a wide open dunk.
And he passes it. Yeah, he was basically doing that, for the entire playoffs.
If he's on the team opening night, I might buy a ticket to a Sixers game and just to boo him on opening night. I want to sit right in the front. You know that guy. You won't know because you're watching the Knicks, but we have this super fan. He's an old, he's one of the best lawyers in all of Philadelphia. He's at every game.
Is that the sign guy?
He doesn't have a sign. He looks like Santa Claus. He's got the white hair. He's got a beard. He always sits right next to the bench. He was even at the Atlanta.
I don't know who he is.
He was even at the Atlanta games.
Okay.
In the playoffs. I want his seat opening night, and I just want to be in Ben Simmons' ear. So much so that he quits the team and leaves. Because I don't think you can't win a championship. He can't be on this basketball team opening night. He can't. Neither can Danny Green after what he said. Yeah, some guys get it. Some guys get it, and some guys don't.
No, I agree with you. I think they do need to trade. I listen. If you're Morey, you can ask whoever you want. You can ask whoever you want to ask.
Yeah, but Brad, this is what he's doing. Because the Golden State Warriors reportedly were extremely interested in acquiring Ben Simmons. But they threw out such an outrageous proposal of Wiseman, Wiggins, and 4 first-round picks. Again, these allegedly rumored that the Golden State brass were just okay. We don't even know. We can't even negotiate this. We're so far away. There's no point in even talking. So they just hang up the phone and they don't pick up the phone again.
I think the Sixers are playing the same game that the Buffalo Sabres in hockey are playing with Jack Eichel. I think that's the whole problem. And you know what? They better be careful because they don't want to bring him to camp. It's a very bad thing if that happens.
And we do have breaking news on the Sixers front. Furkan Korkmaz coming back with the team, 3 years, $15 million. That's not a bad signing. He really improved on the defensive end of the floor, and he's actually made himself into someone that I used to make fun of because I didn't think he was a two-way player and good enough to be, a contributor on a good basketball team, to a guy that he can hit some shots. He can do some stuff. So, I mean, good for him. $15 million, 5 years, $5 million a year for Furkan Korkmaz. That's good change for him. And he's going to help you be a good basketball team as well.
Hey, Frank, if anything happens with the Knicks, please flash it for us.
And then the other shoe to drop in NBA free agency is Lillard. I think that these teams in the East, the Boston, New Yorks, the Philadelphias of the world, really let out a sigh of relief on draft night when the Lakers went in the direction of Russell Westbrook instead of trying to trade for Dame Lillard. So I would keep an eye on Boston. I would keep an eye on Philadelphia, and I would keep an eye on the Knicks as well. For the
he does seem to want to go to New York. So we'll see.
He doesn't seem to want to go to New York.
No, he does seem to. It does seem like he does want to go to New York. So we'll see about that. For whatever reason, he seems to be. They seem to be making like he keeps saying he would like to be with New York. So I don't know. We'll see about that. Yeah,
I mean that would be a game changer. That'd be a game changer for the Knicks. The Knicks haven't had a guy like that, I guess, since Ewing. Yeah,
it would, and they do have the cap space to make deals like that. But we'll see. I mean, it's still a ways off. I think he hasn't demanded a trade yet, although he's getting pretty antsy right now. So
I mean, he says he wants to win, but he's also been extremely outspoken on not joining a super team. So, like, what do you want to do? I mean, Milwaukee winning the championship, like, that proves that a non-super team can win the championship. You don't have to have a super team to win the championship in the NBA. I know some people think that Milwaukee was a super team, and that's total nonsense.
No, they didn't go go recruiting superstar free agents like LeBron James has to do, because he's really just, he's not capable and too lazy to carry a team by himself.
No, I think I don't know. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. He did it in Cleveland for years, and
yeah. Well,
now that he's 38, he's like, nah, I'm not reliving those Cleveland days. You gotta get me. You gotta get me some artillery.
Dirk Nowitzki did it without having to get a million superstars.
He did.
I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon did it twice without having to get a million superstars on the team. I mean, if you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo was able to do it without recruiting a million superstars. The Bucks, the first time they won, they didn't have to recruit a million superstars. I mean, they had Oscar Robertson, but with Kareem, but Oscar was 100 years old by that time. He was at the end of his career. He wasn't in his prime. So, I mean, I don't think he was even starting back then. I think Dandridge was the starting point guard back then.
Wouldn't you agree that the super team, like, it's how you build it, not who you have?
Yeah, well, it's not just. Yeah, it's not just
like the Warriors. The Warriors weren't a super team until they signed Durant.
Yeah, but even
they were good.
Even then, I mean, they didn't go out trying to buy everybody in sight and to trade for everybody in sight. Because they had to do that. They already had a championship team before they brought in Durant. They brought in Durant, and Durant just made it impossible. It went from almost impossible to beating that team to totally impossible to beating that team. And next year that team's going to be awfully good. They'll get Klay Thompson back. They're going to be. Steph will be back. I would think that Wiseman, you're going to see a lot more out of him. I mean, they're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And then, Brad, here in Philadelphia, I think a lot of people, myself included, a lot of people that do shows here at A2D, a lot of people that listen loyally to A2D are going to have to eat a lot of crow when it comes to Philadelphia Eagles general manager Howie Roseman. Because Carson Wentz practiced once for the Indianapolis Colts. He now needs foot surgery, and he's going to be out from 5 to 12 weeks. And Brad, I think you put it perfectly in our pre-show discussion that it's probably going to be closer to 12 weeks because Carson Wentz has the reputation and the track record of being soft.
Exactly. And if he misses 12 weeks, that would give you a second-round pick for him instead of a first-round pick. So, I mean, we'll see. I don't think the Colts are going to rush him back either. So
no, I don't agree with that at all. They're going to want him to get on the field. The Colts are now.
I understand
now for the Colts.
You're not going to, with him, he's so fragile. He might, he might twist his ankle up going back out there again and then be out for the season. So they got to be careful with him.
And then obviously that changes the whole dynamic in the AFC South and the whole AFC. A lot of people, including myself, thought that the Colts were going to mean business here with a franchise quarterback the caliber of Carson Wentz, but I don't know. Not a good look. Not a good look for Carson Wentz. Great look for Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to ditch him on another team certainly was not a bad thing because, I mean, again he's hurt. And you've always been right about the fact that your biggest beef with him was his inability to stay on the field. And once again, that whole thing, rears its ugly head again. So at this point, the Colts are stuck with him, and they're going to have to find a way to get through the time that he misses. And we both agree that, if it's 5 to 12 weeks, most likely it'll be closer to 12 because that's kind of the way Carson rolls.
All right, let's get to our poll question. Baseball going to be at the forefront of our conversation. The remainder of the program will take you about 9:15. Then the Flight Zone will come on. I'm sure they'll have some NBA stuff talk about training camp. Phillies are in action right now against the Washington Nationals. Brad, your Yankees are in action right now against the Baltimore Orioles. The Yankees are at the forefront of our poll question tonight. I thought they were clear winners at the trade deadline. The criticisms of Brian Cashman and that organization, Cheap Hal, all that is out the window. The Yankees made...
Well, wait a minute now. With the Cheap Hal criticism, he didn't spend any money here. So, I mean...
It doesn't matter, Brad. You go out and you add Anthony Rizzo, who's a proven winner.
Oh, listen. I think Cashman did a terrific job bringing in some players here. I mean, if you look at their acquisitions, Rizzo, real good player.
Lefty power hitter.
Gallo, another lefty power hitter. Terrific fielder. Is a Gold Glove outfielder with an unbelievable arm. Hits a lot of home runs. Unfortunately, he strikes out a lot, which should help him fit in real well. But Rizzo might be the key to this whole thing because
I was shocked when Anthony Rizzo got traded to the Yankees.
Rizzo can play first base, Gold Glove caliber first base. I think the whole question now is going to be when Luke Voit is ready to come back, which is going to be very soon. Does this mean Giancarlo Stanton is going to be playing left field and Voit be the DH? Because that could actually add. Then you could be adding another big bat to this lineup, and I think if that's the case, the Yankees are going to be very, very tough to beat.
So that's our poll question. The New York Yankees will make the playoffs.
I think they will. I think they're going to catch Oakland. I don't know about the division because that's going to be tough. Both Boston and Toronto were very, very good. But the Yankees right now, I mean, if you take a look at their lineup, their potential lineup right now, you're going to have Stanton, Judge, Gallo in the outfield, Urshela, Torres, LeMahieu, and our boy Anthony Rizzo at first. Sanchez behind the plate, hitting, and then at DH, Luke Voit. I mean, that's a pretty strong lineup.
Yankees, they sit 7 games back of the Tampa Bay Rays. They lead the division.
6.5 behind the Red Sox, or is it 6?
4 in the loss column.
No, it's 4. No, it's 5.5. I think they're 5.5 behind behind the Red Sox, right?
The Red Sox.
They're 1.5 games out, so I think the Yankees are 6 out, so they're 5.5.
Right, 4 in the loss column.
Right.
Boston didn't do much of anything at the trade deadline. You trade Kyle Schwarber, but he's going to play a position that he's never played before in first base, and they just ignored starting pitching. So I think Boston's going to finish fourth and not make the playoffs after their blistering start to the season pre-trade deadline, because Tampa Bay added Nelson Cruz and Toronto added Brad Hand from Washington. They added Berrios from Minnesota.
Toronto made some nice moves. See, Toronto did what Toronto needed to do. That was address the pitching issue. Boston needed to do the same thing. They're kidding themselves if they think that their pitching is going to hold up. I mean, these guys are going to start pitching to the back of their baseball cards. It's August now. These guys have all put in a lot of innings. Eduardo Rodriguez has not been the same since the COVID thing last year. Actually, he hasn't really been good in 2 years, to be honest with you. 3 years, excuse me. Nathan Eovaldi, we all know he's not an ace. Okay, he's pitched very well, but he's starting to show signs of wear and tear. The bullpen, which has been pretty good, Whitlock has done a great job. He's by the way, he's he's one of those Rule 5 guys that got away from the Yankee camp. So a little red-faced situation there with the Yankees, but other than that, their pitching to me is not very impressive. And I know Chris Sale is going to be coming back soon, but Chris Sale was not a very good pitcher before he got hurt. Okay, he was for a while. Okay, but if you take a look at 2019, he was awful that season. Then he had Tommy John, missed all last year, and is coming back probably in a couple of weeks. We'll see. I don't see Chris Sale as coming back to be the next Jake DeGrom. I think he's going to be the same 4.2, 4.3 ERA pitcher that he was heading down to when he hurt his arm. Just don't see it. Tampa Bay, and again, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. They're not an overly talented team anymore, especially when they lose Tyler Glass now, who unfortunately is having Tommy John surgery. But, you have to accept the fact that they just win. They have a great bullpen.
I think the Yankees
always seem to be better. But the Yankees have been able to beat Tampa Bay. If you take a look at the season series in Tampa, the Yankees actually won 5 out of 9 in Tampa Bay. Now, they got swept in the first series at Yankee Stadium and then split a 4-game series against Tampa. They've had some success against Tampa, and now they add the 2 hitters, and they add Andrew Heaney, and let's not forget him. I mean, he can be a reasonably good number 5 starter for this team. I think if the Yankees just do what they're supposed to do, if they can hit the ball, which I think they should be able to do now with their additions, I think they're an immensely better team than the Oakland Athletics. They may have too far a hill to climb when it comes to Boston or Tampa Bay, but I think they can certainly catch Oakland. Oakland is only 1 game ahead of them in the loss column. And the Yankees' schedule this month is just they've got a lot of last place teams that they're going to play. They just need to do what you would think that they'd be able to do and beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And if they do that, then they'll most certainly take Oakland. And it really should end up being a situation where you could see the Yankees and Red Sox in the playoff game.
I don't think the Yankees are even going to be in the wild card game. I think they're going to win this division. You look at their roster top to bottom. Like, they're better than the Rays. They're good enough to make up whatever 6 games in the six in the loss column to Tampa Bay. I mean, you got Cole, Haney, Herman went on the DL, so that might be something to watch.
It'll be okay though. It's not Herman. It's not serious with Herman.
The bullpen is pretty good, and then you have 1 through 9 that are just gonna bash.
They should
absolutely bash. The only thing that's going to get in the way of this offense is the dreaded strikeout, which they're going to do. They're going to get in their strikeout funks, and they're going to go into slumps, and they might drop some games they shouldn't drop. because of the strikeout. But I mean, if you're looking, I don't think it's going to be a problem for them. First of all, I was very unimpressed with Boston at the trade deadline. Very unimpressed to only add Kyle Schwarber when you have that many holes in your pitching staff. I thought was poor. And this is a lineup that they didn't need any help scoring runs. Like they have Devers, they have Bogarts, they have Kike Hernandez, who's just an animal. JD Martinez is having a terrific season. So just not what you needed. Kyle Schwarber.
Devers is having a MVP type season.
So
without a doubt. I mean, they have the Red Sox have plenty of hitting. For them to worry about getting Kyle Schwarber to play first base, by the way, a position he's played one time in his entire career, that seemed kind of strange to me. I don't quite get that. And adding a left-handed pull hitter is kind of a questionable move to me as well. I mean, a left-handed hitter in Fenway Park, right field is not exactly an easy place to hit home runs in Fenway Park. I mean, if you're hitting the ball to left field, yeah, but Kyle Schwarber is a pull hitter. He's not one to go the opposite way. So he's going to have to change his swing if he's going to hit a lot of home runs in Fenway Park. So it was very strange. I was expecting them to be them and the Astros both to be big players with Scherzer and or Barrios. I really thought that one of them was going to end up getting Scherzer, the other one was going to get Barrios. I knew the Yankees weren't going to get guys like that because the Yankees farm system is kind of like the first 6 or 7 guys are all going to be major leaguers. But then after that, there's a big cliff and a huge drop-off. So they weren't going to trade any of those guys. And if they weren't going to trade any of those guys, they weren't going to get your Trey Turners of the world or your Max Scherzers of the world. I'm surprised they were able to get Rizzo. That was just such a great trade for them.
Our poll question tonight brought to you by Sunrise Detox Center. If you or anyone you know have mental health or addiction issues, contact the Sunrise Detox Center, 856-651-8117. Tell them Tom Arnone sent you. Tell them the Sports Sound sent you. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. Also brought to you by Alan Foy of eXp Realty. Looking to buy or sell a home, looking for a change in career or brokerage, contact Alan Foy, 302-682-8820, or visit him at alan.foy@exprealty.com. So not only do I agree with the poll, they're going to make the playoffs. I have the Yankees firmly in the playoffs as the AL East champions. I think Tampa Bay will make it, even though why do I keep expecting Tampa Bay just to, run out of talent, run out of steam? But they never do.
No, they just don't. They have a great bullpen. I mean, that's really what it comes down to is they have such a deep bullpen that they can just keep bringing guys in, and they shuffle them up and down, to the minor leagues and then back up. They never seem to get tired. If they have an 11-man bullpen, or no, maybe not an 11, they have a 10-man bullpen. Okay, and then they have probably another 5 guys that they keep bringing up from the minor leagues to replace them when they pitch 2 or 3 days in a row. I mean, that's why that works for them. They have such a great collection of arms. You got to really give them a lot of credit. They find a way to do it, and with the low payroll, they still do it. I mean, they traded Castillo, for crying out loud, to the Mariners. Okay, and he was supposed to be their closer. They let him go. They got so many guys, it doesn't even matter.
You look at it, like selling Rich Hill like they did, selling Diego Castillo like they did.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because
come back. It doesn't matter how it's got to catch up to him. No.
Yeah, but that guy Patino, did you see how he pitched against the Yankees last week?
Yeah, I saw him. He strikes out a lot of guys. He's got electric stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they always seem to bring up really good players. I mean, it never stops. And guys that don't necessarily have high averages always seem to hit home runs in the big spots. Guys like He-Man Choi, Meadows.
Meadows is terrific.
Yeah, Brandon Lau. I mean, these guys, Rosarina, these guys, they're not superstars, but they're just really clutch hitters. I mean, clutch just seems to be their DNA. And the same goes for Zunino. He's another one. He hits 190 to between 190 and 210, but you know what? He's going to hit a home run in a big spot for you every time.
He's also a really good catcher.
Yes, he is. And and then Frank, and then they bring up they traded a very good shortstop to Milwaukee, and what do? They bring up the best
Wander Franco, number one prospect in
they
baseball.
bring up the best prospect in baseball, Wander Franco. So
how about the trade a few trade deadlines ago that set up the Tampa Bay Rays for all the success when they traded Chris Archer to the Pirates for Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow?
Oh boy, I'll tell you what
a fleece job that was.
Yeah.
One of the worst trades of all time.
Rob, even with the injury that Glasnow suffered and the fact that he's going to get Tommy John, he'll miss this year and next year, it's still a fleece job because the Pirates have nothing in. Guess who's back with the Tampa Bay Rays now? Archer.
Yeah, it's right. He is on their team this year.
Yeah, they picked him up. So I mean, it's like Tampa Bay when they make trades, they're like Danny Ainge making the phone call. When Danny Ainge makes the phone call to make a trade with you, the best thing you can do is hang up. And
they sent Blake Snell out to San Diego, Cy Young guy, like started big games in the World Series last year. You know, they ship him out. They don't miss a beat. And by the way, they clearly knew something that no one else knew about Blake Snell because he hasn't been very good in San Diego.
Nope. And you would think in that ballpark, he would have been great.
Looks like we got some members in the chat. We'll get to everyone. We're introducing A2D memberships for $9.98 a month. You can get some amazing perks, including shout-outs, members-only shows, appearances, and weekly picks from the Money Pot Podcast. Join today. Billy Dobbins is in the house. He's a member. Street Shark 215. He's checking us out on YouTube. He's a member. I didn't see a report on how good the Money Pot Podcast gambling selections did this week, but they probably did pretty good. They know their stuff. Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Check out the Money Pot Podcast.
We'll be checking it out during the football season.
For sure. Brian Wilson's in the house. Jake Friel's in the house. What's up, fellas? Going to disagree with the poll. I think the Yankees come up just a little bit short of making the postseason. I mean, I guess. I mean, if you want to pound that drum that they're too far out because they got off to a too bad of a start to make the playoffs. Okay.
One game with a lost column to Oakland, though, guys.
And we didn't even talk about it. We didn't even dissect their chances in the wild card, which I think are very good. I think they're going to win the East, so I'm not even looking at the wild card standings.
Well, I have to give proper respect to Boston and Tampa Bay. Although I do think if the Yankees play their best, I think they can beat all these teams. But we'll see. I mean, they have to prove that. They have a lot to prove after the first half they had. Joey Gallo is a big time player. He can play a million positions, and he's a plus defender at third, and he can be a plus defender in the outfield. There's a lot of things that guy can do, but there is one big problem with him is he strikes out a lot. But you would think a big, husky left-handed hitter in Yankee Stadium would be just all you could possibly ask for. So I kind of have to march to that beat and think that the Yankees are going to make up that one game in the lost column against the Oakland A's, and they're going to sneak in.
Prism 280. He's checking us out on YouTube. You know he's a member. What's up, Prism? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for spending your Mondays with us. Riz also checking us out on YouTube. Is that real? Furkan Korkmaz, $15 million for 3 years. That is confirmed. That is true. Furkan Korkmaz remains with the Sixers. He gets $5 million a year over the next 3 years. Good signing. Good signing from Daryl Morey. I see there's a lot of outrage that Daryl Morey didn't hit the ground running in free agency. What do Sixers fan want him to do? The only thing he can do.
They don't have a lot of salary cap room.
No, they have Simmons on a max deal. They have Tobias making way too much money, and they're going to have to pay. You have to pay Joe, even though he frustrates me when he has to sit out. He's a tremendous player, and you can't let him.
As long as he can play in the playoffs.
So I mean, like I don't understand what you want Daryl Morey to do with the salaries that he has on this team.
By the way, I've gotten a report that Kyle Lowry has now gone to the Heat in a sign and trade.
Dwight Howard heading back to the Lakers. That stings a little bit. That stings a little bit. He was a big part of what the Sixers did last year. His spark off the bench really energized them in the regular season to be able to pile up those wins that they got and get that 1 seed. So, I mean, losing him to the Lakers, that hurts a little bit. That's I can crush Daryl Morey a little bit on that one, I think.
What
a little bit.
What hurts both the Sixers and the Knicks is the fact that now we're going to have to deal with the Miami Heat big time.
Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Bam. Yeah, they're a good team.
Is Dragan still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Hey. It's going to be a tough team to handle.
I don't know. Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler are older. I love Jimmy Butler, but
I like Kyle Lowry too.
I
think they may have to play a little reduced minutes. If they have if Miami has a deep bench, they should be fine.
No, yeah, so I have one of the best coaches in all the league, and Eric Spoelstra, so he'll be able to manage those minutes and let the young kids run when they need to run, and have Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry, the older guys, ready to go when they need them most. Greg Milakovic, he disagrees to the poll. Shocker. Mr. New York hatred. Greg Milakovic, check him out Sunday nights.
I do have something to say to you, Greg. I can't wait for hockey. I can't wait to see Ryan Reeves beat the crap out of every Flyer in the history of hockey.
I don't know about
you guys are going down.
I mean,
they're going to kick your asses.
I don't know about that. I like what the Flyers are doing.
I think the Flyers made one good move. They got a terrible defenseman in Ristolainen, and he stinks. Yandel is 100 years old now. Good offensive defenseman, but he's no good in his zone either. So basically what you've done is you've tried to increase your offense, and your defense is going to be pretty much as bad as it was before. Martin Jones has not been very good either. So it's not like you guys really helped your team all that much. You got really one real good defenseman, but the rest of the guys are not very good. Sorry. I can't support that at all. I don't think they did it. I don't think they did enough. The Voracek trade was a money trade. I think that's probably a pretty even trade. I do like the fact that you got a guy in Cam Atkinson who can actually have a good motor and never stops on the ice. That's a good thing, and hopefully for you guys, he'll bring some spark. But Ryan Reeves.
And then Greg Milakovic, also the president of the Furkan Korkmaz fan club. So he's really happy that he's back. 3 years, $15 million. It is a pretty good value. Greg chimes in. It's a good value. It is a good value. $5 million a year. I mean, Kelly Olynyk just got 3 years, $37 million from the Pistons. I mean, Kelly Olynyk is no great shakes. Jimmy Butler's going to be making $50 million. $50 million. Jimmy Butler's going to make in his age 36 season with the Heat. So it's just stupid monopoly money out there in the NBA right now.
Well, how about Mitchell Robinson re-signing with the Knicks for $1.8 million?
They also re-signed Nerlens Noel.
Well, I think that's a good move. I think is a good move.
Mitchell Robinson, he's always in foul trouble. He seems to always be something with him.
Well, you would hope that he's going to either get over the foul trouble or stay healthy. He was playing very well last year until he got hurt.
A lot of talent, Brad. He's a 5-star recruit. 5-star recruit coming out of high school.
He's played well, but he has to learn to chill on the court. I think that's the best word to describe it. He's got to chill a little bit.
Well, he's a headache because even with him being a 5-star recruit, he had to go to Western Kentucky. Which, Frank, I know Frank are great producers and alum of Western Kentucky, but when you're listing the pantheon of college basketball powerhouses and who should be getting 5-star recruits like Mitchell Robinson, Western Kentucky does not top that list. With all due respect, there, Frank.
Uh-oh, you're going to get a retaliatory response now.
The square popped up. Is the square going to talk? No? Okay.
No, not yet.
There we go. We're like top 20 in wins all time, so yeah.
They're that high? Well, perhaps I've underestimated.
Why, yes.
I've underestimated the tops.
We are up there in the all-time wins column. And we have a nice streak of 20-win seasons in a row.
They might, they always seem to sneak into the top 25 at one point or another. Maybe I'm being too hard on the tops.
They seem to make their share of NCAA tournaments.
We do. Yep.
Bryce Blackwell's in the house. Yankees are loaded. The Yankees are loaded. I mean,
they are.
If you want to pick the two talented teams and what would be the most, like viewer friendly World Series, it would be the Dodgers and the Yankees, right?
Or the White Sox.
Yeah, but LA is.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the National League. I'm talking about the American League.
I think
no
one draws like the Yankees. I know the White Sox are really good. Chicago's a big market. That's all fine and good, but no one draws like the Yankees.
No, I agree. I agree with you there. I mean, if the Yankees do make the playoffs, they'll get the best ratings for sure. They always seem to. So, I mean, that would make sense.
Thomas Arnone's in the house. He agrees to the poll. He's got the Yankees in the playoffs. Fly Guy, Vernon Dodd 441. He's checking us out on YouTube. Where are the other guys? This is it. This is the squad here on Monday night. You got Monday morning quarterback at 5 with Tom Arnone and Ryan Brodo. You got me and Brad, Sports Hounds, 7:15 and 9:15. And then you got the Flight Zone. Comes to you at around 9:30 to 11:30.
And the Yankees now trail 1-0 as that pest Cedric Mullins, who's killed the Yankees this year, just hit a bomb to right. And this was after Rougned Odor couldn't catch a pop-up behind third base.
That guy stinks. He's an absolute stiff.
Urshela's got a bad knee, so I mean he's
got to play.
The problem is that DJ LeMahieu has something wrong. I think he's got a tricep injury or something, so he can't play third base. He's got to play second base because he can't make the long throw. So really, Rougned is your backup third baseman. Although I think they should go for defense and just use Wade. Wade can't hit, but he's a very good fielder because the next pitch ends up going out of the ballpark. So it is now 1-0 Baltimore in the top of the third with 2 outs.
David Roscoe, the Angels and Phillies suck. The Angels definitely suck.
The Angels are horrible.
The Phillies suck too, but the Phillies are going to win the East, in my opinion, because I don't think the Mets did enough, and I don't know when Lindor's going to play. I don't know when DeGrom's going to play. So I think the Phillies are going to overcome themselves.
I think the Braves are
themselves, their manager, their general manager, their front office, their player development. They're going to overcome everything, and make the playoffs this season. And then they'll get swept by the Dodgers in the first round. But playoffs is always better than no playoffs. I don't like the argument that what's the point of making the playoffs to just get swept by the Dodgers? No, you always want to make the playoffs. Always. It's always better to make the playoffs than not make the playoffs. You get the added revenue, you get the added games, you get some buzz around your team, national and local. Because if the Phillies make the playoffs, people who didn't watch a game all year are going to check out the Phillies in the playoffs because they're in the playoffs.
Oh, of course. Of course. I think the Phillies made a smart trade with Texas, but they're not a very good baseball team. They may make the playoffs just because the division is so bad, but I have a feeling Atlanta is going to end up being the division winner. I think they're going to end up going on that crazy streak. Even without Acuna, they can still hit the ball.
That's the only reason that I'm not factoring in Atlanta. Because, over the long haul, losing a player like Acuna is going to hurt them.
Yeah, but they've played well. They've been playing well lately. The Mets.
I have the standings. I have the standings right here.
The Mets picked up Baez. I thought that was a pretty good move. But we don't know when Lindor is coming back.
DeGrom seems to always have a setback, and it just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back for him.
Well, he's not going to throw for 2 weeks. So if he's not going to throw for 2 weeks, then he's going to have to go and get a rehab assignment, which will probably take another 2 weeks to get him here. So get him back to the majors. So he's probably gone till September 1st, don't you think?
At least.
So yeah, so that's going to be at least September 1st for him. Lindor, I've heard middle of August with him.
That's fine, and there's no doubt you're going to have a great double play combo with Baez and Lindor.
And Baez is a tremendous player, by the way. He really is. I mean,
this isn't 2015. I agree.
He can still
a tremendous arm. He can pick it.
He can hit though. He can hit.
It's not 2015 Javier Baez that they traded for, though.
No, I realize that. But he's still an upgrade, though. If you're looking at like Luis Guillorme, I think he was playing shortstop for the Mets, and McNeil was at second. So I mean, that's still an upgrade for them.
Yeah, but they just moved him to second when Lindor.
Well, Guillorme ended up getting hurt, so now McNeil is back at second, and they moved Baez to short. And then when
Baez is going to be
Lindor comes back. Yeah, when Lindor comes back, he'll move to second, and then McNeil will either play the outfield or he'll play third base, and they won't play J.D. Davis. J.D. Davis is a butcher.
Gallo was a Prism 280. Gallage was a huge get. He's a Gold Glover who can play first base, third base, right field, center field, and left field. Absolute stud. He does strike out a lot, but if you look at his stats, he's cut those numbers down every year and increased his on-base percentage.
Yes,
last 2 years was at 379.
Gets a lot of bunt. Gets a lot of walks.
Well, how did the Yankees stack how did they stack their lineup tonight, Brad?
Well, unfortunately, Gio Urshela is still bothered by his knee, so he's out tonight. Odor's playing third base, but their lineup tonight, I believe, is LeMahieu.
I have it right here. It's LeMahieu, Rizzo, Judge at DH, Gallo on left, Stanton in right, Odor at third, Sanchez, Torres, Brett Gardner in center. Is that how far off is that from if it's game one of the ALCS or whatever? What's Brad Ryer's optimal lineup?
Well, Voit will be back, hopefully healthy, and then Voit will be the DH. And Stanton will be playing left, and there will be no Brett Gardner.
So what? You put Gallo in center?
Judge in center. No, I put Judge in center.
Judge in center?
Yeah, I put Judge in center and let Gallo play. Let Gallo play right. And Gallo's a little faster than Judge, but I think their arms are both superb. Gallo may actually have a better arm than Judge, which is hard to believe. And then you have Stanton in left. Stanton has
you really want Judge possibly getting nicked in center field?
In the playoffs?
I would let Gallo do that.
You could either way you could do that. I mean, the only one that can't play center would be Stanton, but I would want Stanton. Stanton was in the outfield, by the way, this weekend in Miami.
Yes, he was. Yes.
So he can go out there, but I would want to have him, and I would want to have Voit in the lineup as your DH, or you put Voit at first base when you want to rest Rizzo, and you let Rizzo DH. But now that Stanton can play the outfield again, that makes a big difference because now you can start putting different guys at DH if that's what you want to do, if you're inclined to do that. But I think you want to get Voit's bat in the lineup as soon as he's ready to go. I mean, you're talking about last year's American League leader in home runs.
Yankees down 2-0.
Yeah, Hayes hit a home run. So that drop, that ball that Odor was unable to catch cost them 2 runs. Because then Mullins and Hayes went back to back.
Phillies in the bottom of the 4th. It's 0-0. They're in Washington tonight.
Philly's got to start beating these last place teams.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 of the Pirates is an absolute joke. Shouldn't have happened. They took out a lot of frustrations yesterday, winning the game 15-4.
But, I mean, there's what I wanted. As I said, the Knicks we're looking to get Evan Fournier. That happened, and I think that's a good deal for them.
4 years, Evan Fournier is a good player.
He can score.
He's a really good player. He went from Orlando to, I want to say, Boston.
Yeah. But he was
averaging deadline last year.
Wasn't he averaging close to 20 points a game last year?
Hey, he's a 20-game guy. Easy. Yeah, he can attack. He can shoot. That's a good.
Yeah, him and Randall now, who are going to be your 2 main scorers, they probably need to re-sign Rose. And I guess they're going to, it depends on who they get to be the point guard. But they got to find themselves a point guard. That's really urgent for them.
Mets are down. Let me just run through these scores real quick. Miami Marlins, they're up 4-2 on the New York Mets. That's in the bottom of the 2nd. That would be.
Miami got 4 runs off the Mets.
The Mets stink. Like,
I
understand the Phillies are flawed too, but.
Do you realize Miami didn't even score 4 runs the whole weekend against the Yankees?
I saw they were a slaughter. It was a slaughter.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees didn't hit them, didn't hit Miami, but the Marlins couldn't do anything. I think they may have scored 4 runs all weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I think they got 1-1, and they lost 4-2. Was it yesterday? It's 3-1 yesterday. It was 3-2 the day before, and like 2-0 or 2-1 or something like that. Florida didn't score at all. So that's bad news for the Mets. The Mets have to sweep Florida. There's no excuse for that.
Top 3 in Tampa. Seattle's up 2-0 on the Rays. Seattle does have the bases loaded with nobody out.
Very good.
Top of the 3rd.
Let's go, M's.
Angels in Texas are just getting underway. We do have a final Monday afternoon baseball. The Cleveland Indians take care of the Toronto Blue Jays in 10 innings.
5-2.
Milwaukee 5-2. Yes, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. They'll play. They'll first pitch is at 8, and the Giants go to San Francisco. That'll start at 9:40.
So
Bryce Blackwell.
The East team's lost. That's
yes.
Well, one's losing and the other one's lost. The Yankees are also losing. So we'll see what happens here.
Bryce Blackwell, he thinks the Flyers are going to be good. David Roska, he's looking for Ryan Reeves to beat up Tom Wilson.
Oh, he will. You won't have to wait long for that opening night.
Yandel will help on the power play and play 3rd line minutes, and that's a plus. That's from Prism 280. Prism also likes the Ristolainen signing, which you can't say enough bad things about.
He's a stiff. You guys are going to hate him. He was so – take a look at his plus-minus ratings in Buffalo, okay? The only reason he scored a lot of points was because he was the point man on the power play. But as far as playing defense, which is what matters to defensemen, he stunk. He was awful. He was the reason Buffalo was so bad. He was one of the main reasons. He was a stiff. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. Yeah, the Flyers had some guys.
280. He thinks you're being too hard on him because he was in Buffalo and they stunk.
They stunk because they had him. So I would totally disagree. I saw him play too. Okay, he was not good. Okay, that guy. All you had to do with him was dump the puck in his corner, and then send a couple of forecheckers in on him, and he'd always give the puck away. That's his game. And unless he can be taught not to do that, I don't see that that's going to change. Elaine Vigneault is a good offensive coach, but he's never been known as a good defensive coach. So we'll see.
And
But
Matt
if you're asking
Spillane,
me
he's
about
got
him, I think he's terrible. Yeah, the guy to get on Buffalo was Sam Reinhart. If you want to talk about Sabres, their center, and I believe he went to Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
he did.
Yeah, so he was the guy to get. Jack Eichel is also, but Jack Eichel is in a very weird situation with his herniated disc in his neck, and Buffalo won't trade him and all that other silliness. So I am looking
Matt
forward to
Spillane.
that.
Matt Spillane, he doesn't get it. 33 pitches and no hits allowed. Why wouldn't Girardi keep Suarez in? He was cruising because Ranger Suarez stinks, Matt. He stinks, and that's great that he went out there and he threw 33 pitches and didn't allow a hit. But I mean,
Isn't this his first start?
he started before. It might be his first start this year, but he's definitely
Yeah, that's
started
what I'm
games
saying.
before.
I mean, you can't. How many pitches do you want him to throw in his
But he
first?
stinks. He stinks, Brad. The fact that you got 3 innings out of him is a miracle in of itself. You got to get
Well,
him
the fact
out.
that the fact that he started would tell you that you're going to use that it's going to be a bullpen game tonight. I'm sure Girardi planned for that and he's ready for it. And listen, you got to beat Washington.
They need a sweep here. The Phillies need a sweep here.
Yeah, they if the Phillies want to really make noise and make some noise now, they got to go in and they got to beat these teams.
Wow.
The Phillies have a very bad habit against bad teams of coming up very short on the road, and that's got to stop.
I don't think that's a fair criticism, Brad, because the Phillies are a bad team. Some of these base running errors that these teams, not just the Phillies, but that go around throughout baseball, these teams don't run the bases yet. Well, at
I'm
all.
starting to think Haney is. I think I'm watching the Gas House Gorillas against Bugs Bunny. Haney has now given up 3 home runs.
This is his problem.
But in 3 innings, 4 innings. No, 3 innings because he hasn't gotten anybody out in the 4th inning. I mean, he's not just giving up regular home runs; he's giving up moonshots.
Nice. I finally got my TV working, so I can put on the game here. Maybe. No, maybe not.
Yeah, he hung a curveball.
That's what he does. Oh, here we go. Business. We get the Phillies on. We can live react. But this is him. I mean, he's only a viable pitcher because he strikes out a lot of guys.
Well, he's supposed to be a number 5 pitcher, which means give me 5 innings and don't give up more than 3 runs in 5 innings. And if you can do that, okay, fine. But he's already given up his 3 runs, so we'll see. The Orioles are not exactly known to have a great pitching staff, but you can't give up. You can't get too far behind this team. I mean, you really want it. The Yankees really, really need to be sweeping this series.
Pete Evans, he checks in. Check him out on Birds of a Feather tomorrow, 8:00. Talk some training camp.
Thank you, Frank.
If they can't sweep this series, then they're just as bad as the Nationals. Brad, can you explain to me why an esteemed baseball mind like Mike Rizzo trades Trey Turner like that? There's your Knicks right there. Derek Rose, 3 years, $43 million.
I like it. We need to get a starting point guard now. So I'm sure that the Knicks are going to be out there trying to do just that. And from what I understand, they want the kid in Phoenix. So let's do it.
Matt Spillane, look, I'm not going to argue about Ranger Suarez because I know what I've seen, and that's great that he has an ERA like he has. But I've also seen him come in the 9th inning when he's tried to close, and he's thrown absolute batting practice. So, 1.04 ERA in 28 games, okay.
How many innings?
He's been a bullpen guy. So,
okay. Well, so he's been good.
Take that with a grain of salt. He's been horrendous in his save opportunities. And, he's just not that good. I don't know what you want. You think Ranger Suarez is going out there and giving you 7 strong? It's not going to happen. That's just the way it is. Now, it is the top of the fifth. This game's kind of flying by here on ESPN. 52 and 53, so you're still below 500. You're 3.5 games back in the East. And I think the Phillies are the least flawed team in the National League East. And I'm going to pick them to win the division. I am. Until one of these teams can prove to me that they can sustain success, I'm going to pick them the least flawed team. And I think that is the Phillies. I think that Dave Dombrowski did a fantastic job bringing in Ian Kennedy, he's got 15 saves over there in Texas. So like
Ian Kennedy's done a really nice job.
So there's your closer. You have a big three of Wheeler, Nola, and Gibson. It's not bad.
And now the Yankees are down 4-0 as Heaney has given up his 4th home run of the game. That is
is this Andrew Heaney? Is he going to be a guy that can handle New York? Or is he going to
he's not going to handle New York too well if he keeps giving up that many 4 home runs.
Is this ball game in Yankee Stadium? Or
yes, it is.
It's in Yankee Stadium, so he's probably going to be hearing it.
He really heard it on that last home run. I mean, 4 home runs in 3 innings to Baltimore.
Prism 280 hitting the nail right on it. Don't overextend your bullpen arms. Rangers killed Neftali Felice's career trying to do that. And Alexi Ogando, he had electric stuff. Remember him?
Yes, I do. He
had electric
dynamite, but he really only lasted as a top pitcher for maybe 2 or 3 years, and then
because they messed them up.
Yeah, he's right. He is right though regarding both those guys. Neftali Felice would have been great. I mean, but they were using him 4 or 5 days in a row.
Yeah, they tried to make him a starter. They overused him.
Yeah, well, that was a mistake because he was a great closer, and they wanted him to be a starting pitcher. And sometimes if it's not broke, you don't fix it. And they made a big mistake with him. Right now, the Texas Rangers are a god-awful baseball team.
They don't have much going on for them.
No, they're god-awful, and that's really surprising. But they'll buy some players. They've always been the kind of team that will spend the money when they need to.
Every offseason, because they had that ballpark cooking, and like they were like kind of maybe if they got a couple players away, they always seem to be in the mix to spend money.
Yep. And boy, Heaney is really bad. He just hit one off the wall. Some guy just hit the ball off the wall.
Look at Odubel Herrera.
And
Herrera going yachts.
Yeah, the fans are booing the hell out of him right now. This is ridiculous. He almost gave up another home run.
Odubel Herrera, center fielder, gets the Phillies on the board. The Phillies take a 1-0 lead in Washington. Odubel Herrera's 7th home run of the season.
Hey, can we give Heaney back to the Angels?
You could send Heaney down to Philadelphia.
You could listen. The way he's pitching tonight, you can have him. Oh my God! And Boone,
this is what he does.
Boone has nobody warming up in the bullpen. And let me tell you something about Boone. Okay, I know the Yankees won 3 straight this weekend, but Boone did another typical Boone on Saturday night. Okay, there was a play in the 8th inning when the score was 1-1, where the ball was hit to Odor. Okay, for a double play. Odor goes and tries to tag the guy. He tags the guy with his mitt and not his glove. However, the guy clearly ran out of the baseline. So they called him out first, and then Miami's manager challenged because he didn't tag him. So they called him safe. Now, Boone, and even Michael Kay, the Yankees broadcaster, said, he's clearly out of the baseline. What's going on? And Boone didn't bother to challenge that. And they're very fortunate that they got out of that situation because he was clearly out of the baseline. I mean, Boone's horrible. And the fact that he's seeing this pitcher just getting clobbered. He's thrown 74 pitches now in the top of the 4th inning. And I think he just, after the ball was hit off the fence after the 4th home run, that's when he gets a bullpen guy up. I mean, this is the problem with Aaron Boone. This is why he's the worst manager in the game. And this is what scares me about him, about the Yankees, is that you have a guy who's clueless at best, controlling your game, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He watches the games with rose colored sunglasses. I mean, he doesn't get it. He's in another world. If a guy's pitching terribly, you got to get him out. You've got guys in the bullpen who can make up the ground for you. You can't just let a guy give up 4 home runs in the top of the 4th inning and a double. I mean, that's crazy.
John Daniels is the worst. I think Chris Young is the GM now, so who knows? But they should have kept Nolan and fired Daniels when that whole ordeal happened. He's talking about that the front office drama with the Texas Rangers.
Daniels is the owner, I think. So I don't think you can fire the owner, can you?
No, you can't fire the owner.
So I mean, Chris Young is doing a bad job. So that's the guy you've got to if you want to get rid of somebody, you get rid of him. But Texas also hasn't spent any money the last couple of years.
Prism says he's not the owner.
He's not. Okay,
No.
I thought he was.
But Brett, you get back on track here with the Nationals. Mike Rizzo, really smart GM. He's won a World Series recently. How in the world do you trade a guy like Trey Turner, 28-year-old Trey Turner, having a career year? There's not much Trey Turner can't do on the baseball field. To the Dodgers.
That one I don't get. I'm just relieved that he traded him to the Dodgers and didn't trade him in the American League. I don't get it either. He's also going to be on the Dodgers next year too, isn't he?
I think they have 2 years of control.
Yeah, they have this year and then next year. So, what's that mean? Are they going to get rid of Muncy? Because I mean, isn't Seager back?
Seager played Friday, so you're going to put. It looks like Trey Turner. Well, Trey Turner has COVID right now, so he can't play.
Right.
Until
but they didn't know that.
It looks like it doesn't matter. I mean, he's going to be fine. Yeah. He's going to come back because 99.9% of the people who get COVID are fine.
Okay, so Ray Davis is the owner, according to Prism. Okay, I thought Daniels was the owner because I never heard Ray Davis's name being.
Look at that contract. Look at that contract for Duncan Robinson on the Heat. 5 years, $90 million. It's the largest deal ever for a player who wasn't drafted.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, Joey Gallo just made one of the best catches you're ever going to see in left field. And Heaney is still in the game. It's that ball was hit so hard, and that ball didn't land very far from the fence either. I mean, it's amazing that clueless Aaron Boone continues to allow this guy Heaney to continue to pitch. I mean, he's not effective. He's just hanging that curveball over and over again.
And there's Wilson. I guess he's on the Rangers Suarez fan club train too.
Well,
Rangers stud, second lowest ERA in MLB with at least 40 innings, behind only Jacob deGrom. He's going to be a good starter.
Oh, so he's as good as Jacob deGrom now,
okay.
right?
No, he's a second. He didn't say that.
Yeah, but you're just to put him in the same sentence as Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, I think it's nonsense, and I'll believe Ranger Suarez is going to be a good starter when I see Ranger Suarez give me quality innings over 80.
How about pitching 5 to 6? How about pitching 5 to 6 innings before you start?
I don't trust Ranger Suarez as far as I can throw him. I don't care what kind of stats you're throwing out. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him.
Before you pound your chest about him, I mean, listen, Nestor Cortez pitched 5 scoreless innings against Tampa Bay the other night. Does that mean that he's a stud pitcher for the Yankees? No. I mean, you can't go by one night. There's just a little bit of overreacting here. But remember, this is a team that you really should beat.
They have to beat. I don't know if it's a 3-game series or a 4-game series. The Phillies have to sweep this team. You lose 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. That's bad.
Yeah, I know. I was expecting them. I was expecting them to at least win. Listen, I can understand if you lose, if you win 2 out of 3. I can understand if you don't sweep a series on the road because the home team they've got some players too. I mean, Pittsburgh is not completely completely decimated and have a complete AAA lineup. They've got some players on their
Yeah, they
team.
do.
They're
They
not
stink.
huh? They've got some. They got
They
some.
traded their only guy. I mean, they have Reynolds in center, so I guess I can't say that. But they traded Adam Frazier, the Padres.
No, I realize
pitchers.
now they're probably significantly weakened by trading Frazier. But I mean they have some guys that can hit the ball on that team. But there's no way that the Phillies should be in this situation. They can't be losing games like that to them.
No, absolutely.
Because it's not just the Mets they're chasing. Remember, you got the Atlanta Braves are in your division too, and I know that they've had some devastating injuries. That's very true, but they're still the Braves, and they still have that DNA of winning, and they've got some good hitters on that team. And to be honest with you, the National League East, the teams in that division, let's be honest, they're bad. If any of these teams were in any other division right now, they'd be gone. They would have all been selling, and it would have been the end of it for them. They're fortunate. All these teams are having a bad year at the same year. A lot of people thought this might be the best division in baseball, but as it turned out, it's just not.
Stinks.
So, enjoy the fact that even though you're a game under 500, you're right there. You have to beat the Mets. The Mets look extremely and eminently beatable. I mean, the Mets just seem to pull a lot of games out of their asses. Did you see how they pulled the one out of their ass on Saturday night?
I think it was. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, Dominic Smith comes up and takes it. He's totally off balance against a left-handed pitcher. It was Doolittle, I think. He's totally off balance on a curveball, and he kind of scoops the ball to center field for a single, and it ties up the game. I mean, you can't make stuff like that up. Sometimes teams just step in it, and the Mets seem to do that. They seem to win a lot of these type of games this year.
And I'll tell you, a team that's building the right way down in Miami with your boy Derek Jeter, I thought they made a tremendous trade. I mean, obviously you give up Starling Marte at the deadline. He goes to the Oakland A's, and he's a terrific ball player. He's going to help Oakland a lot right now. But to get a guy like Jesus Luzardo to go with some of the young pitchers that they have,
yeah, I thought that was a pretty good move. I think he'll settle down and pitch well in Miami. Miami is just that stadium. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't watch a lot of Marlin baseball. I don't really watch a lot of National League baseball. But
Brad,
it just feels that Miami is very hard. Miami is very hard to hit a home run in, isn't it?
It's a big park, yeah.
That stadium. There were guys hitting some shots in it, especially the Yankees. They hit some shots in that series that didn't go out of the yard, which I was shocked about. I mean, it seems like the baseballs need to have a propeller on their seams to hit a home run in that stadium. That stadium just seems like Yellowstone Park to me. So maybe that's part of it. But I do like Jazz Chisholm. I think he's a pretty good hitter.
Look at their arms. You bring in Luzardo, who maybe a change of scenery can help unlock his potential. Trevor Rogers is awesome. Pablo,
that Alcantara guy, Sandy Alcantara.
He's great.
He's
Pablo Lopez is hurt right now. He's a really good pitcher. So if there's credence to creating a stable of arms for your farm system and developing them, and that's how you win, then the Marlins are definitely on the right track. We didn't even mention Sixto Sanchez, who has all the talent in the world.
I forgot about him.
Healthy.
How about Aguilar? He's having a pretty darn good year too.
He's a slugger.
Yeah, he's having a good year. He had a very bad year the last year, and I believe the year before that he didn't have a very good year either.
But I don't know. Maybe Wilson and Matt Spillane, maybe they're right about Ranger Suarez. I have to say it to believe it with Ranger Suarez, because if you can get Ranger Suarez to step up and be this fifth starter.
Well, if he's going to give you 5 innings every outing, then you're fine.
Go Wheeler, Nola, Gibson, Eflin. Hopefully he can come back soon, even though I don't know where he is. I haven't even heard it. The fact that I've heard so little about his injury that it makes me concerned. And then you do Ranger Suarez in the 5 spot.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that Gibson is now in the National League. Let's see how he does with pressure on him.
He pitched well yesterday. It was against the Pirates, but
yeah, but they gave him they scored a ton of runs for him, which didn't hurt. But he'll be a factor. I think listen. You have him as your number 3. That's fine. I think as a number 3 pitcher, he'll be fine in that role.
Brother BKL Contreras, check us out on YouTube. What's up, fellas? I know the trade deadline has ended and the Phillies are looking good team, but not good in the trade deadline. I mean, look at the teams. The Yankees seem different. I mean, yeah, the Yankees made a big splash. The Phillies made minor moves, but
But they were efficient moves. They were moves that needed to be made.
The Phillies don't have prospects. They don't have the tools to go out and reload to get a Joey Gallo. I was surprised they were able to get what they got done. But
they did.
This is where I think their downfall is going to be. And if they don't win this division, which I'm still confident that they're the least flawed team in the National League East. Maybe that's me being a homer. That's okay. I can't give up on a baseball team that's 3.5 games out with 100 or so games to go, or whatever, 60 games to go. They played 100, give or take. But not adding an outfielder at the trade deadline, I think wasn't wise. I thought they had to get something done because now you got Herrera in center, which I guess Herrera's in left tonight because McCutcheon's on the DL. And then you have Jankowski in center hitting leadoff. That's not going to get it done.
No, you're right about that.
Um,
Looks like the Knicks are going to sign Alec Burks too. They're going to bring him back. So that's
still waiting for that big kind of chip.
I'm still waiting for the point guard.
Okay, so to answer your question about Goran Dragic looks like he's going to the Raptors in the sign and trade deal for.
Oh, okay.
Lowry.
Well, that's a good trade really for both teams. Because he'll help the Raptors. I mean, Lowry has maybe a year or 2 left at most. So we'll see about him.
I mean, we can look at some of these other moves, do some predictions, and maybe we can get into some other stuff. JT Realmuto stepped up to the plate. I need him to step up a little bit. JT down the stretch. It's got to be him and Bryce. I mean, Bryce is having a fantastic season. Really, really step up, and I need those two to kind of carry this team.
Yes, that would help. What has happened to Didi Gregorius?
Didi Gregorius is washed. I was at the bar having some drinks yesterday, and we were talking about – yeah, very surprising, right? And we were talking about, when these guys, lose even, 1% of their ability, some of them are done because they need that 100% ability to be good. And Didi Gregorius has lost – he's lost a little bit, and it's shown. Because he's not hitting and he's not fielding.
I think those injuries, those 2 injuries that he had took their tolls on him.
Look at TJ McConnell getting $35 million a year over 4 years. Are you kidding me?
TJ McConnell?
TJ McConnell. That's ridiculous.
How about that?
Good for him. I mean, it's not his fault the Pacers don't know what they're doing and you're giving him all that money, but that's ridiculous. But getting back to Didi Gregorius, Didi Gregorius, he's diminished, and you're on the hook for him for $18 million. I wouldn't. The Phillies also traded for with the Baltimore Orioles. They traded for a guy that they used to have in Freddie Galvis. Brad, I wouldn't put it past Freddie Galvis being the everyday shortstop when he's healthy. I know that's tough to commit to because Didi's making money, and Didi has way more of a pedigree than Freddie Galvez. But
yeah, but
offense aside, Brad, I can't have my shortstop making 9 errors in diminished playing time because he's been hurt so much.
No, I agree with you. I think there was a reason they brought Galvez in, and I think it's to play shortstop because Didi is just melted down. He's, for whatever reason, I think it's probably the injuries, but he's just not the same player. And it is surprising that the Phillies didn't go talk to the Twins. I had heard that they were in conversations about Byron Buxton and Kepler. I mean, why not try to get Kepler? I mean, I think he would have been a really good, solid addition to that team. And Kepler needs to change the scenery in the worst way, by the way.
Well, they spent a lot of time trying to get Tyler Anderson from the Pirates, and I'm still not 100% sure what happened there. I think some of the prospects on the Phillies sides that were going to the Pirates didn't pass their medicals, so the trade got nixed, and then Tyler Anderson went to the Seattle Mariners. But I mean, if you add Tyler Anderson to this haul that they got, this little revamped pitching staff that they tried to attempt to do at the trade deadline here, I mean, that'd be because then you got 4 solid guys to start, with Anderson being your 4th, and then when Eflin comes back, he's your 5th guy, and then Velasquez can go to the bullpen finally. Suarez can be in the bullpen. Neres is actually, I know Neres is the butt of a lot of our jokes here in Philadelphia, but ever since he's been removed from the closer role, he's been pitching in like the 5th, 6th, 7th inning in a set role.
You have him in the right. You have him in his.
Yeah, he's been much better. He's been much better.
Yeah, some guys just aren't closers.
He pitched today. I think he gave him 2 innings today after Suarez went in. After Suarez came out, they put Neres in, and then the Nationals still have zeros.
Chad Green is a really good example of that. The Yankees have tried to use him as a closer on occasion, and he's been terrible. But you put him in the middle innings, and he's terrific. 6th, 7th innings, he's terrific. In the 8th inning, he's pretty shaky, but 6th, 7th inning, he's fine.
And this Alec Bohm, I mean, it sucks because they have so many holes. But I need Alec Bohm to step up as well. I mean,
this guy Cedric Mullins, he's one hell of a player. Guy gets a single, steals 2nd, and now steals 3rd. They better watch it because if he steals home, that would really be embarrassing.
Look, Baltimore has some definite pieces down there.
They do.
Mountcastle's hitting. Trey Mancini's hitting.
Yeah,
Trey Mancini is hitting.
Trey Mancini's up now with Mullins on 3rd and 1 out. So I can expect it to be 5-0 very soon. They finally took Haney out and put Joely Rodriguez in there, and Joely Rodriguez doesn't look like he's all that steady either. Nope, he popped it up to the first baseman. Well, that might be a big out.
Now the Phillies got something cooking. Didi Gregorius with a single, back-to-back singles for the Phillies. Alec Bohm with an infield single. Didi Gregorius hits a single past the shortstop. So you got 2 on, 2 out with Odubel Herrera up, who hit a home run his last at bat. Get a little insurance here.
Big spot in this game. Maybe you could break it open.
Yeah, Alec Bohm's 25. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, it's kind of like Alec Bohm, 25, you're not a prospect anymore. Like, you can either pack it or you can't.
No, well, I mean, a lot of guys come up late. That's not unusual.
Let's look at some of these other moves. Let's go over the standings, and we can talk about some we can go basketball. We can go football. We can go a number of different ways for the rest of the show, but let me because there Brad, I don't remember a year where the trade deadline was this crazy.
No, this was probably one of the wildest deadlines I've ever seen. Unbelievable number of trades this year. I mean, there were just an unbelievable number. And
Okay,
Joely Rodriguez gets out of trouble.
The aforementioned Braves, they acquire Richard Rodriguez, closer from the Pirates. They're able to get Jorge Soler, an outfielder from the Rays. So they did
also
some
got
stuff.
They also got Adam Duvall from.
They also
Miami.
got Adam Duvall from, I guess Miami. He was on. I don't think that's enough. I don't think. Look, just not having Acuna.
You can't replace Acuna, Rob. There's
no.
You can't replace him. All you can do is try to, help your depth, bring in a couple more hitters, and just try to make your lineup longer. I mean, you're not going to get the quality of an Acuna, but at least now they've made their lineup a little deeper, and gotten a couple of guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and that's the whole idea behind what they did. One thing Adam Duvall can do is Adam Duvall can hit home runs. He's done that pretty consistently throughout his career. So I don't think that was a bad move at all for them. I like the move to try to improve their bullpen.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm underselling the Braves too much because of that.
They still have Freeman. They still have Albies. I mean, they've got guys.
Dansby Swanson's terrific.
Yeah, their third baseman's having a
Austin
big year.
Riley's terrific as well.
Yeah, they can hit. They can hit, Rob. They really can. I mean, that's the one thing. That's the one thing that team can hit. It's unfortunate for them that they don't have Acuna, but they can hit the ball, and they may just have just enough pitching to be able to win this division. I don't think more than 85, 86 wins is going to win this. Is going to be needed to win this division. Certainly, I think the Braves can do that.
We talked about the Phillies move. Gibson, Kennedy, they come in. Spencer Howard goes to Texas Rangers. I don't think they're missing out on anything in terms of Spencer Howard. Now, this is encouraging.
He's a good prospect, but he's a prospect. I mean, you can put him out there. The Texas Rangers will throw him out there with no pressure, and we'll see what happens.
Now, Rhys Hoskins pinch hitting with the bases loaded. Odubel Herrera draws a walk. This is interesting. Rhys Hoskins hasn't played in a couple of days because of a groin injury. So we'll see if he can blow it open here with the Mets. I believe they're still losing in Miami.
I think it was 4-3 last I looked.
How about the Giants, Brad? They go out. They make a splash. They raid the Cubs. They raid the Cubs. They get Chris Bryant.
That's a nice move. Boy, big time bat. You can put him at third, you can put him at first, and you can put him in the outfield, in left field. That was a really nice move.
I'm trying to think of who their third baseman is. I would assume he's going to play third. Let me see if their lineup's out tonight.
Yeah, I would think he would.
Yastrzemski, Bryant at third, Crawford shortstop in the 3-hole, Posey at catcher, Alex Dickerson, Darren Ruff, Duger, Solano, DeScalfani. And they have what's his name? Brandon Belts on the DL. So he would be the starting first baseman instead of Darren Ruff. Boy, that's just another man. The Philadelphia sports, man. They are on a tremendous stretch of just awful luck. You have Gabe Kapler, who didn't look like he knew what he was doing in Philadelphia. He goes out to San Francisco. They're leading the West. Better record than the Dodgers. Better record than the Padres. You have Carson Wentz. He gets hurt. Well, it's good he's not here in Philadelphia, but I mean that's a lot of fans, Brad, including myself, were really counting on having 3 first-round picks next year.
Listen, if it's closer to 5 weeks, if it's let's play devil's advocate.
I mean,
for a minute.
Brad,
You
he's
have
not
3
playing. He's
weeks.
not playing 80% of the snaps.
You have 3 weeks of preseason, so you don't have to worry about that. So if it's 5 weeks, he only misses the first 2 weeks of the season. If it's 12 weeks, it could be 10 weeks of the season. So it really depends on how much time he misses after the first 3 weeks. But they're not telling you. I haven't heard anything about what exactly his problem was with his foot.
It's something with a ligament, and they took a bone out of his foot, or they're going to take a bone out of his foot, from what I understand, and that's going to help the ligament heal and like make the bones not like rub against each other, I guess.
Oof.
But like apparently, this has been a problem for him since high school. So like, I don't understand.
This never
How
bothered
no-
him. This never came up when he was playing for the Eagles.
So no medical personnel for the Philadelphia Eagles picked up on this at all. So that's not.
Yeah, but you can't blame them. Carson has to tell him if he's hurt.
Yeah. And then Devontae Smith, he's banged up. He sprained his knee at camp. He's going to be out for 3 weeks. Not too worried about that.
I wouldn't worry about that one. When does the I guess the Hall of Fame game is this week, right? And
yeah,
then
I think it's the Cowboys and the Steelers.
Yeah, and then the following week is when we start having the games, correct? Yeah,
I guess you're right, man. It's
or are they
having
having
up on us.
or are they having 3 games? Are they having all the games this week, or are they just having the one Hall of Fame game this week, and then the following week they start playing football?
I think it's one this week. That's like the jump off point, the Hall of
Right.
Fame game.
Yeah, because that's how they've always done it. And I would imagine. I just didn't know if in the COVID era they would do that still, but I guess they are. So that's okay. So that starts at.
And then we have the Sixers, who are just a train wreck, and they're a bunch of losers, and they're in my doghouse until further notice, Brad. Sixers are in my doghouse until further notice.
Before you say that, let's at least wait till noon tomorrow.
No.
And see when the dust clears what your team looks like.
No.
So far, I'm pretty happy with what the Knicks did. Being able to actually.
I'm just going to crush them. I'm just going to crush them and crush them and crush them and crush them because they're a bunch of loser, fraud idiots that totally swindled and bamboozled this fan base into thinking it was a good idea to lose on purpose for 5, 6, 7 straight years. It's a joke. It's a total joke. And they're no better than when they started. It's a joke. They lost in the second round when they traded Drew Holiday for Nerlens Noel.
True.
And they can't get past the second round now.
They need to just get rid of Ben Simmons. I mean, if anything, just for the cap money, just to get some cap space. So they can go out and just change the way the team is. There are a lot of guards out there right now. There are a lot of pretty good point guards. Listen, they may not be as good defensively as Simmons, but at least they're gonna try to score. They're not going to pass when they have a dunk.
Prism 280, I'm just excited to see MSG fans in the playoffs again. As a Mavs fan, I can admit that's a magical atmosphere. Prism 280, who are you affiliated with? Like, who are your teams? Say you're a Mavs fan, you obviously what you're talking about on the broad spectrum of sports. We obviously love having you here on the Sports Hounds, but like, where are you from, and who are your teams? And there's Don 19 checking in. We know he's Detroit all day. So hopefully Prism 280 can. He doesn't conduct himself like I don't think he's a Philly fan. Prism 280.
I don't know. He certainly made friends with some of our guests.
Correct. And then here's the
Chris
Phillies
Pronger knows who he
Roses.
is. Chris Pronger certainly knows who he is.
Washington ties it up with the Phillies 1-1. Washington hits a solo home run off of Elian De Los Santos. So there you have it, 1-1. Prism 280, Mavs, NBA, hockey, Blackhawks, baseball, Expos, football. He follows TCU. He likes TCU. You're from Texas, right, Prism?
Mavs, Blackhawks, Expos. Expos? They haven't been. Well, I guess that
Don
means
19. Rob, would you do a Ben Simmons for Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley deal?
Oh, I'd do
yes.
that in a second.
Yes. I can't have Ben Simmons on my team next year. And honestly, I put the responsibility for forcing Ben out of town on Joel Embiid. The day after the season last year, Joel Embiid should have went into Daryl Morey's office and said, "You got to get this guy out of here. We're never going to win with him. If you want to keep him, that's fine, but then you got to trade me. You got to pick between Joel Embiid should have made this Sixers franchise pick between him and Ben Simmons the day after he passed out that dunk." So, yes, I would trade. I mean, would I like to get a pick? If I can get a first-round pick, Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley, I'd be that's a no-brainer. I think Marvin Bagley's a really good power forward. I think he's got a lot of talent, and Buddy Hield can score.
Yeah, I like Buddy Hield. I'm kind of holding out hope that the Knicks can find a way to bring him in.
And then
I doubt they will, though.
Then I'm fine with not getting a point guard back for Ben Simmons because I have Tyrese Maxey, who's about to blossom into a $100 million player. And then I can start. I can tell Danny Green to go kick rocks because I think Matisse Thybulle is ready to step up and be a starter.
You're kind of taking a chance there, though. I mean, are both of them going to be? You think both of them are going to be?
Yes, I think they're both going to be. Yes. Maxey, yes. Matisse Thybulle, he's not going to be a $100 million player, but I don't see any reason he could sign a deal one day like the Evan Fournier deal that he just signed with the Knicks, 4 years, $78 million. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities at all.
No, that's true.
He should start. He has the capability and the skill set to start on a good basketball team.
Kind of like what the Knicks have done so far, Rob. I'd like, as I said, like to see a point guard. Very happy with Fournier now being the starting two guard. Derrick Rose coming in off the bench would be ideal.
You need a star, Brad.
Huh?
You need a star.
Well, they got one already. Randall.
Is he a star?
He averaged 24 points a game.
Okay, I get it, but is he a star? Do you game plan for Julius
He was
Randle?
last year. He was last year. I mean, he's not good enough. Let's put it this way. He's very, very good. Okay, but he's not good enough to win a playoff series by himself. He needs help.
He's not a superstar, but I guess I'll give you a star.
He's a star. He's not a superstar. I'm not going to I can't put him
he's on the same level as Tobias Harris.
Oh, I think he's a little better than Tobias Harris. Gets more rebounds, gets to the line more, scores more. I mean, after the year
Don 19, he wants to know what I think about the Lonzo Ball to the Bulls trade. I don't know what the Bulls are up to.
Are they going to pay Levine too next year?
I don't know.
How do they pay both?
Because if you remember, Brad, at the trade deadline last year, the Bulls kind of surprised everyone and traded for Nikolai Vucevic out of Orlando, an outstanding power forward. And they have Levine.
Can you pay Levine as well as what after you just paid all that money for Ball?
I mean, 4 years, $85 million for Ball.
That's 21 million a year. What is the what's the cap? 100 million? 110 million? I mean, they're not a small.
It's like they have Kobe White, who I like. They
They're
have
not a small
Markkinen.
team,
Markkinen doesn't
so-
really fit there anymore with Vucevic because he doesn't want to come off the bench. They still have Levine. I think Thaddeus Young was a free agent because they have Vucevic. I just don't know, like, but like now, like you have a backcourt of the bull. I can't figure out what they're doing unless there's like another shoot-a-fall. Like they've got Daniel Theis from Boston. Like that's a good role player. Temple, he's okay. Vucevic is awesome, but Kobe White, you don't have a place to play Kobe White now, who I think is a good player at UNC, because you're obviously your starting ball, who's a pretty good player, and you're paying him $85 million, $20 million a year, and then you got Levine sitting there. So I don't know what they're doing.
As I know, next season, Bradley Beal and Levine are both going to be free agents. So I'm just.
I mean, that's another reason that Westbrook trade doesn't make any sense. Because, Bradley Beal, he's really good. Really good. But you need a guy with him. You need a guy with everyone. No one can win it by themselves.
No. That's not gonna happen. So
did you get closer to winning a championship if you're the Washington Wizards by trading Westbrook like they did and potentially losing Bradley Beal after this season? I don't know about that.
I have a funny feeling that Bradley Beal is going to stay. I think he likes it there. He's
going to get a super max contract, so he's going to have whatever it is, $184 million to like it there as well.
Yeah, does he? I've never heard him once criticize the Wizards management or anything like that. From what I've understood, he seems to like it there. So I don't know that he's going anywhere.
I don't know what the Bills, because Don 19, he says the Bulls got Alex Caruso, who was a point guard role player for the Los Angeles Lakers last season. So Kobe White might be gone. I mean, you're just going to give up on a young guy like Kobe White like that? I'll take Kobe White on the Sixers. That'd be cool. Unless they got something up their sleeve. Maybe they're not going to pay Levine or Zach LaVine, and they're going to trade him. Maybe they'll trade him for Ben Simmons.
That could happen. Very strange, but I'm a little jealous.
The Bulls strike me as a team that's just kind of doing stuff. They're just doing stuff. They don't have a plan.
Rob, I just don't see them pay. He's not a $21 million a year player yet.
Who?
Ball.
Yeah, but he's got the tools, and
I mean, he may grow into it, but they're paying him a lot of money now already.
I don't think that's a bad contract. There's a lot of bad contracts to get handed out in the NBA. I don't think that that's one of them, in my opinion.
Okay.
He can really push pace, and he can make his teammates better.
I mean, I saw him as a 15 to 18 million a year guy.
Okay, he got 21. So,
yeah.
Are you really that far off?
No, I guess not.
1-1, Phillies, Jose Alvarado in the game, bottom 6. Just got Josh Bell looking to end the inning. That's a big get. You got to get some top of the order. Jankowski, Segura, Harper. Keep you updated. Yankees are on the board.
4-1.
4-1. We'll see if they can rally.
By the way, they have no hits tonight.
They have no hits.
They're in the 6th inning, and the guy's pitching a no-hitter. They scored a run.
I mean, it'd be nice if our teams could, get something going here and get these wins, because Miami's still beating the Mets 5-3 in the bottom of the 5th, and Tampa Bay's losing to Seattle 6-2.
Yeah,
it's
not like we're playing world beaters right now.
All right, let's get back to some of these trades. About 15 minutes left in the flight zone. Will take you through the remainder of the night. I don't think the Mets did enough.
I like what they did. I think they made a very solid trade with Baez. They got themselves another pitcher, which should help them. But the Mets just aren't that good right now. They really need they need to get Lindor back. And I got to be honest, the situation right now with Michael Conforto is really getting to be bad in New York now. I believe he's under 200. I know the Met fans are having a rather difficult time cheering for him, to put it mildly. In other words, he's getting booed out of the stadium right now for his ineptitude. Mets have a lot of problems.
How about the drama with their first round pick, 10th overall, Kumar Rocker out of Vanderbilt?
And they didn't sign him.
They didn't sign him because of a medical red flag. Shouldn't they have checked him out before they picked him?
I think that they were upset about the fact that he may have lied about it. And I think
Scott Boras is his agent, so I wouldn't put anything.
Well, Scott Boras is the slime of baseball.
I'd hire him if I was a good player in 5 seconds, though.
Yeah, he's also ruined a few careers too, though, with his being too greedy and over-assessing people's talent. But he does have a habit of getting mediocre players overpaid. That's for sure.
One thing on the Braves, they also got Eddie Rosario from Cleveland.
He was the other guy I was thinking of. They really loaded up their lineup.
And the fire sale continued in Washington. They send outstanding setup man Daniel Hudson to the San Diego Padres. Scherzer and Turner, obviously, they go to the Dodgers. I mean, I guess you have to put the Dodgers as the winners of the trade deadline. No.
Here's something that I don't get. What happened with Trevor Story?
I don't know.
What is Colorado doing? Are they going to keep him?
But this is the Colorado. They just do stuff. They don't have a plan. You know, they kept John Gray, who's a rental. They're going to lose John. I would imagine they're going to lose John Gray at the end of the season. He's not that great. And if I'm John Gray,
if they put a qualifying offer on him, Gray might take it.
Maybe I would be trying to get the hell out of Colorado if I'm John Gray.
I understand that.
It must be a nightmare to pitch every night in Coors Field.
The qualifying offer could be like $19 million.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he would take.
I don't think John Gray is.
Why would the Rockies, a small market team, offer John Gray $19 million on a qualifying offer?
Well, if it's for 1 year,
but he's not a $19 million player.
No,
I suppose you protect yourself because you get a draft pick if someone signs him. Isn't that how it works?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess then
they're thinking that the first round draft pick that they get is going to.
But who cares? Get Trevor Story out of there. Get
They should. I
John
don't.
Gray, Herman Marquez. I mean,
they didn't.
Guys out of there. Just reset the whole thing.
They let did they trade Arenado or did he?
No,
they traded Arenado.
They traded him.
Yeah, I mean, what is with them that they're just letting all their top players go? And they don't
not Trevor Story.
Right. They keep Trevor Story. I mean, and Trevor Story isn't even having that good a year this year.
Nah, he's been hurt and he is what he is. I think he's slightly overrated. He's just a power hitting shortstop who's a decent fielder. He gets a lot of,
he's a little bit better than a decent fielder. He's a very good fielder, and
I think he gets overrated because of the power aspect.
I'll give you that.
And I don't know if he would hit as many home runs as he does outside of Coors Field than he does at Coors Field. That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree with you about that. That's probably
the Chicago White Sox, Brad. Absolutely loaded up. They get Kimbrel. They get Ryan Tepera, setup man, also from the Cubs, and they're able to grab Cesar Hernandez from the Cleveland Indians.
That's a solid player there.
Cesar Hernandez, solid ball player.
Yes, he is.
Um,
He's a professional hitter.
Madrigal, who they were relying on.
No, he's hurt. He's
as
out
a young
for the
guy.
season.
He's out for the year. They sent him to cross town for Kimbrel.
But Madrigal could be a big star. He is he's highly rated as a future star. So,
and then Oakland, just two more here before we do our predictions for the rest of the year. Toronto obviously gets Brad Hand and Berrios. Helps a lot. I think they're going to make the playoffs. And Oakland gets Starling Marte.
and it would appear that I have a visitor.
Oh yeah, you get the dog.
Yes, the big one. By the way, in case anybody hasn't seen this guy, here it is.
Oh, that's the. But you didn't get the mini golden doodle.
No, that she's the big golden doodle.
She's regular and she's white.
Yeah, she's an English cream golden doodle.
So, like, how many pounds?
She's over 60 now.
Okay.
And when we got her, she was 16, so she's kind of grown a little bit. For some reason, she always seems to have to knock the door down.
Yeah, Buttons does the same thing.
Yeah, she just
very smart. They're very smart.
Oh yeah.
But all right. So how do we see these? Let's start in the American League. Let's start in the East. Well, let's start in the Central because only one team's going to make it in the Central. There's no point of even talking about it. It's the Chicago White Sox.
Who we've been on since the beginning of the season. In the preseason.
Look at the Twins. 44-62. Dead last.
They may end up being the worst team in the league at this point.
Unbelievable. And then they held Byron Buxton.
Yeah. I think they want to keep him.
He's a great ball player.
A lot of guys who play in Minnesota love playing there. I have a feeling he might be one of those guys. So I think that they're going to keep him. I don't think he's going anywhere.
All right. What about the West? What about the West, Brad?
The West. I think the Astros are going to run away with that division. Oakland.
I was disappointed the Astros didn't add a starter to have.
Oh, I was relieved that they didn't add a starter, to be honest with you. I just had this horrible thought that Scherzer was going to be there. And it didn't happen, and that was just really surprising, to be honest with you. I would have thought that Houston would be all over that after getting Justin Verlander one year and then Zach Greinke another year. I figured, okay, now they're going to get Scherzer. But when he went to the Dodgers, I was just a very happy person, to be honest with you.
Yankees now down 6-1.
Yep.
To the Baltimore Orioles.
They're having one of those nights, Rob.
Can't take advantage of the presumed Tampa Bay loss.
Don't count. Listen, don't count either team out.
Are you gonna have three teams in the East make it, or are you gonna have Oakland?
No, I think the Yankees are going to beat out Oakland. I just think the Yankees schedule is such that they really should be able to take full advantage of this schedule and have a very strong month. I don't think Oakland is all that they're cracked up to be. I just don't.
No, I think they miss Semien. I think.
Oh, big time. I mean, Kana is a good player. Laureano is a good player. I'm not saying that they don't have a good team, but Matt Chapman is having a horrible season. He's a guy that should have been that should be hitting about 260, 270, and he's hitting about 215, and he's only got maybe between 10 and 11 home runs, something along those lines. I know that in our fantasy league, I spent a lot of money to get him when somebody cut him. And he was so bad that I ended up cutting him. And that was after a huge investment to pick him up. So that would tell you just how bad I think he is. I just don't think Oakland is really all that. Elvis Andrus is not good anymore.
No.
you know, they're not that good. Chris Bassett's been okay. He's supposed to be the ace, but he's been eminently hittable this year. You know, Minaya is probably been their best pitcher, but Minaya very rarely goes more than 5 2/3 to 6 innings. I mean, he's dynamite for that amount of time, but he can be inconsistent as well. The rest of their pitching is really quite average, and you know their bullpen is.
I wouldn't put it past Seattle finishing higher than Oakland.
I mean, Oakland has no bullpen. They have good middle relief, but they don't have a very strong closer right now. I mean, Jake Dykman, isn't he the closer now?
Yeah, he's in the back end. I'm not sure. I think they play games with their closer.
Yeah, I think they use different guys. I mean, I don't see it. I just don't. I don't think they're good enough. They've really disappointed. Been very disappointing this year. I thought that they were going to win the division, and clearly the Houston Astros have shown them who's the boss every time they played them. I mean, they've crushed them. So I don't see it in Oakland.
So I have the Yankees winning the East, and then I have the wild card game of Tampa Bay, Toronto.
Oh, you think the Red Sox are going to completely fold the tents? I think you're going to see the Yankees, and
I think Toronto's better. I mean, we just talked about Toronto adds Hand. I know Hand took the loss today. He kind of blew it against the Indians in extra innings, but that's okay. That happens sometimes. Their lineup is just Vlad Guerrero Jr. is a beast. Bo Bichette is a beast. Springer is finally healthy.
I can't
Simeon's an MVP.
I can't see Boston falling that far down. I mean,
they needed a starter. They needed a starting pitcher. Unless Chris Sale's coming back and just being a Cy Young candidate.
I don't think that's going to happen.
You know, I can't pick everybody.
No, that's true.
There's like 5 games. Toronto's 5 back in the loss column of Boston. Yankees are 4 back. I don't know.
It's a lot. I think that's a lot to ask. The Yankees finally got their first hit.
And then I think Seattle finishes just out.
Yeah, I think Seattle is kind of.
They're doing good things.
They are, but I think they're kind of the smoke and mirrors team. I can't. Again, they have a lot of guys they have a lot of young players, so they haven't proven that they can do it for a whole season. I mean, I like Mechaniker, but I mean, other than him, really, what guys on their team are going to make it the whole? It's
this guy Tyler France is starting to hit. Dylan Moore's starting to hit. Kyle Seager's been having a pretty good season.
He's been having a very good season, but I mean, Abraham Toro is he all that? I mean, really,
I know he's gotten hot.
Yeah, I know he has, but is that?
I mean, he is what he is. I mean,
yeah.
All right, switching over to the National League. We got a few minutes left here. Hand you off the flight zone starting around 9:30. Brad, don't look now, but the Milwaukee Brewers are 63-43. They added Eduardo Escobar at the trade deadline. They have 3 tremendous starting pitchers at the top of their rotation in Woodruff, Corbin Burns, and Freddie Peralta. Oh,
they're solid.
If they can get
they got their old closer back too.
Axford, yeah, he's older now, so we'll see how that works out. Josh Hader did go on the COVID list today. So
that could hurt, but you know what? They've got
the Phillies. The Phillies have taken the lead in Washington on a wild pitch. Gene Segura scampers in from third, so Phillies up 2-1. They got to hold this one. They got to hold this down. They got to win this baseball game. But I mean, the Brewers. I mean, they're 7 games up on the Reds. I don't think the Reds are. They don't have what it takes. So the Central, that's a 1-bid league. I'm curious to see who you like in the East.
I got to go with Atlanta right now.
So you're going to go with Atlanta. They need Ian Anderson back and healthy.
Yeah, I agree. But they'll get him back.
I'm going to pick the Phillies. I'm going to pick the Phillies in the East. And then, it's 1 from the Central, it's 1 from the East, and it's 3 from the.
Yeah, I mean,
you're from.
You're looking at San Diego. Obviously, the Giants and the Dodgers.
Well,
and
we
San
got to see
Diego.
about because Tatis did get hurt over the weekend. I believe he's going to go on the DL, so we'll see how that shakes out. The Reds are 3 games back in the loss column to the Padres.
Yeah, don't throw the Reds out, but it's highly unlikely that you're gonna. I'll tell you what. After watching them, they can hit, and Castellanos right now is out, which hurts. But they're. I wonder about them with their bullpen. I really do. I mean,
so
I see them in the 10th inning of a big game against the Mets, and who comes into the game? Luis Cessa. You remember him, right?
yes,
With the Yankees.
they just traded for him.
Yeah, they just traded him away. When I saw him come in the 10th inning, I said to myself, I wonder if this guy is even going to record an out. And sure enough, he didn't.
He didn't. I do think the Dodgers are going to overtake the Giants.
Yeah, we've both been saying that all year that the Giants
Look,
aren't.
the Giants are real.
Yeah, at this point,
The Giants are real. They're here to stay. They got Chris Bryant. Their pitchers haven't gone anywhere. Can make the argument for Kevin Gausman as a Cy Young guy. Kapler's got to be the manager. Gabe Kapler's got to be the manager of the year.
Yeah, I as much as I hate to say that, I think you're right about that. I'll tell you what, the Mets manager, you got to give him a lot of credit. With all the injuries the Mets have had, for him to be able to keep that team together is pretty remarkable.
And I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Dodgers Yankees.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think Houston might be the team to beat. As much as I hate to say that, because I just can't stand.
No,
Houston.
I take it back. I'll take the White Sox. The White Sox are better.
I hope so.
With the moves that they made with Cesar Hernandez, Kimbrel,
and don't forget Eloy Jimenez is going to be back. I know that he
already got hurt again though.
Yeah, he has a tight groin, but he didn't tear it, so he'll probably be back in a week or two. So, but they're going to get him back. They're going to get Robert back. They're going to be a very tough team to beat. They've got real good pitch. They have good, experienced pitching. And their bullpen, I mean, Kimbrel and Hendricks, boy, oh boy. With them, it's going to be a 7-inning game.
Terapa is good too. The setup guy from the
Tempora, yeah. He's
really good pitcher too.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's not automatic.
Kopech's been doing well for them. A high strikeout guy.
He's not.
Bryce. You can't send Bryce Harper on that. That's not deep enough.
What, he get thrown out?
He got thrown out trying to tag up on a sac fly.
Oh, jeez.
It just wasn't deep enough. I don't know. All right, that'll do it for this session of the Sports House. Thank you to our great sponsors. Thank you to everyone who liked, commented, subscribed, shared our program. Thank you to Frank Vesby for producing the program. Until next Monday, he's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Peace out, everybody.
Good night.